Hello and welcome everyone, it's Capcan and today we are looking at our Windwalker talent tree from the Dragonflight beta currently. As PTR is down, servers are down. I don't know if they are gonna be down for a whole lot of time or they are like for a little bit of time, but they're down, which means that I can't really look at the talents in game and I need to use our WoW head. So yeah, let's go. Fists of Fury is what we're starting with. So channeled 4 seconds, 3 key cost, and 24 seconds cooldown. Pummels all targets in front of you, dealing attack power physical damage over 4 seconds to your primary target and less damage over 4 seconds to all other enemies. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets, can be channeled while moving. Okay. Then we have our Touch of Karma. Absorbs all damage taken for 10 seconds, up to 50% of your maximum health, and redirects 70% of that amount to the enemy target as nature damage over 6 seconds. Instant 1.5 minute cooldown, which is quite massive. Of course, yeah, and you're probably gonna take it 100% of the times. Ascension increases your maximum ki by 1, maximum energy by 20, and your energy regeneration by 10%, which you'll probably again 100% gonna take because like all the resources are getting increased and the regeneration gets increased and stuff like that. So yeah, no brainer. Power strikes. Every 15 seconds your next tiger palm will generate 1 additional ki and deal 100% damage. Okay. Yeah, so every 15 seconds. So yeah, that's a little bit of a big cooldown, of course, yet still it's pretty good, especially for solo content. It's gonna be like very good. Let's go probably with right part, and I already see talents that go for Fists of Fury somethings. Yep, Flashing Fists, Fists of Fury damage increased by 10 and then 20%, yep. Or Open Palm Strikes. Fists of Fury damage increased by 15%. When Fist of Fury deals damage, it has a 5% chance to refund 1 ki. So yeah, if you don't want to go heavy into like Fists of Fury, then you're gonna take only this talent because it's just literally better than this one by 5% damage, and it has something on top of it which yeah looks a little bit weird, but I understand that it's for you to combine them both and use both or use only one, like yeah. Glory of the Dawn. Rising Sun Kick has a 25% chance to trigger a second time, dealing 36% of attack power physical damage and restoring 1 ki. Alright. Then at the center we have Hardened Souls. Blackout Kick, critical strike chance increased by 2% and critical damage increased by 4 and then 8 and 4 respectively. Yeah, which means that your critical strike chance is gonna be better stat for like, yeah, that's not too much skills here, so only for 1 skill, but still crit strike multiplier and increased crit strike chance, which is quite handy as well. Tiger Palm damage increased by 15 and then 30%, so yeah, just your like one of your core abilities are gonna have increased damage by 30. Probably you're gonna take it as well. Flying Serpent King. Soar forward through the air at high speed for 1.5 seconds, 25 seconds cooldown, instant if you used. Again, while active you will land, dealing damage to all enemies within 8 yards and reducing movement speed by 70% for 4 seconds. So 100% taken for PvP. Very good mobility skill either way. Probably gonna be taken in any and all the situations. Yeah, just like Flying Serpent Kick. Widening Whirl. Spinning Crane Kick radius increased by 15%. Okay, so that's for you to deal AoE damage on like more AoE. And then we have Mark of the Crane. For Windwalker, spin while kicking in the air, dealing... Wait, that's not active ability, but okay. Spin while kicking in the air, dealing damage to over 1.5 seconds to all enemies within 8 yards. Deal reduced damage beyond 5 targets. I don't understand this talent. It's either an increase to your like spinning crane kick, and or it's like bugged and it doesn't says here, but yeah, you wouldn't really have talent for spinning crane kick before you're getting spinning crane kick. So yeah, that's like, yeah, okay. Something's broken here. Let's go with the further parts of the talent tree. Shadow boxing threads. Blackout kick damage increased by 20% and strikes an additional 2 targets. Okay, so your like pretty good damage ability becomes pseudo AoE. Pretty good. Increases maximum energy by 100. Then Dance of Chi, and as you can see, 2 identical like talent icons, which even furthermore says that this thing here is something weird. Yeah, it's definitely just it describes like spinning crane kick. And yeah, Dance of Chi. Spending Chi has a chance to make your next spinning crane kick free and deal an additional 200 damage. Okay, you approximately 2 procs per minute. You're 100% taking it for your M+. Then we have our Jade Ignition. Whenever you deal damage to a target with Fists of Fury, you gain a stack of Chi energy up to a maximum of 30 stacks. Using Spinning Crane Kick will cause the energy to detonate in a Chi explosion, dealing nature damage to all enemies within 8 yards. The damage is increased by 5% for each stack of Chi energy, So yeah, when you're using Fists of Fury, you're getting additional AoE damage stacks, which is quite cool. 100%. Forbidden Technique. Touch of Death deals 40% increased damage and can be used a second time within 5 seconds before its cooldown is triggered. Okay, alright. And can be used a second time within 5 seconds before it's... So that's for you to like use it on, and again similar like stuff. Yeah, so that's for you to like instantly try to kill 2 targets at once. Okay, Rushing Jadewind. 1 key cost, instant cast, 6 seconds cooldown. Summons a whirling tornado around you, causing physical damage over 6 seconds to all enemies within 8 yards. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. So 6 seconds cooldown and 6 seconds duration, which is just an additional like AoE for you. Now let's go for the center. Choose one, either Earth, Storm, Earth and Fire, 1.5 minute recharge, 1 charge instant, split into 3 elemental spirits for 15 seconds, each spirit dealing 45% of normal damage and healing. You directly control the Storm spirit, while Earth and Fire mimic your attacks on nearby enemies. While active, casting Storm, Earth and Fire again will cause the spirits to fixate on your target. Okay, so that's the thing that we've had before. Or Serenity. Instant 1.5 minute cooldown. Enter an elevated state of mental and physical serenity for 12 seconds. While in this state, you deal 20% increased damage and healing, and all key consumers are free and cooldown 100% 50 more quickly. You need to, yeah, and 1.5 minute cooldowns on both of these. You need to check the numbers on them. Yeah, anyway. Drinking Horn Cover. The duration of Storm, Earth and Fire is extended, or Serenity, I guess. Serenity, or yeah, extended by 0.4 for every key you spend. Or with Serenity for 0.03 seconds every time you cast a key spender. Oh yeah, because you don't spend any key. Okay, so buffs to the, like, yeah, extended duration for both these spells. Meridian Strikes. When you combo strike, the cooldown of Touch of Death is reduced by 0.35 seconds. Touch of Death deals an additional 15% damage. Alright. Spiritual Focus. Every 2 key you spend reduces the cooldown of Serenity. So it... Okay, so we can have way better uptime on those talents. On those, I mean, cooldowns. Every 2 key you spend reduces the cooldown of Serenity or Earth, Fire and Storm, Earth and Fire by 1 second, and for Serenity it's 0.3 seconds. But why the Serenity is so much worse if that's the case? Yeah, like Wowhead's interface is a little bit cumbersome, and yeah, I don't really understand everything that. But yeah, by the looks of it, it seems like Serenity got only 0.3 seconds. Yeah, weird. And then we have Invoke Xuen, the White Tiger. Instant 2 minutes cooldown, summon an effigy of Xuen, the White Tiger. For 24 seconds, Xuen attacks your primary target and strikes 3 enemies within 10 yards every 1 second with Tiger Lightning for 23% of attack power and nature damage. Now let's go with like what left from the right part. So we have Strike of the Windlord, 2 key, instant cast, 40 seconds cooldown and 9 yards range. Strike with both fists at all enemies in front of you, dealing 250% of attack power plus 150% like massive attack power damage and reducing movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. Looks like a very good AoE cooldown. Then we have our hit combo. Each successive attack that triggers combo strikes in a row grants 1% increased damage, stacking up to 6 times, alright? Here we have Thunder Fist, Strike of the Windlord, which is this skill. Grants you a stack of Thunder Fist for each enemy struck. Thunder Fist discharge upon melee strikes, dealing 500% of attack power nature damage. Which is quite massive for single target, additional single target damage. Okay, 500%, what the fuck? Teachings of the Monastery. Tiger Palm causes your next blackout kick to strike an additional time, stacking up to 3. Blackout kick has a 15% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Rising Sun kick. Okay, and with this blackout kick increases for the, like AoE, your blackout kick, but yeah, you probably wouldn't really... Okay, quite interesting. Need to see how that works. Now let's go probably with this part of the tree. So Rising Star, Rising Sun kick damage increased by 5 and then by 10%. It instantly goes to Whirling Dragon Punch, which is active ability. Instant 24 seconds cooldown. Performs a devastating whirling upward strike, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. Only usable while both Fists of Fury and Rising Sun kick are on cooldown. Quite interesting. So yeah, like additional AoE active cooldown for you. Now let's go deeper. Feline Storm, so that's probably something like Night Fae. Instant 30 seconds recharge. Strike the ground fiercely to expose a feline for 30 seconds, dealing attack power nature damage to up to time 5 enemies, and restores spell power health to up to 5 allies within 30 yards caught in the feline. And for like, yeah, that's all for Mistweaver. For Mistweaver it's up to 5 allies. Okay, Stagger is 5 more effective for 8 seconds against enemies caught in the feline. You'll do it in, okay, suffer an instant, okay, against so enemies caught in the feline suffer an additional 65% of attack power damage. Your abilities have a 6% chance of resetting the cooldown of feline stomp while fighting on a feline. Okay, so 30 seconds recharge, 1 charge instant. Way of the Fae increases the initial damage of feline stomp by 10% per target hit by the damage, up to a maximum of 50% additional damage, and then Feline Harmony. Your abilities reset feline stomp 100% more often. Enemies and allies hit by Feline Stomp are affected by Fae exposure, increasing your damage and healing against them by 8% for 10 seconds. Alright, quite interesting. Then we have our Empowered Tiger Lightning. Xuen strikes your enemies with Empowered Tiger Lightning every 4 seconds, dealing 10% of the damage you have dealt to those targets in the last 4 seconds. Okay. So you can like stack your damage and then deal it with Tiger Lightnings, like a portion of that you can deal again. Transfer the power. Blackout Kick and Rising Sun Kick increases damage dealt by your next Fists of Fury by 3%, stacking up to 10 times, which means 30%. And then Invoker's Delight. You gain 33% haste for 20 seconds after summoning your Celestial. Oh, so that creates even bigger like damage windows if you need like as much burst as you can possibly get. Then Fury of the Yuan. Your combo strikes grant a stacking 1%, if I'm like pronouncing Yuan right. Your combo strikes grant a stacking 1% chance for your next Fists of Fury to grant 612 haste and invoke Yuan the White Tiger for 8 seconds. So additional like... so you can proc your White Tiger summon, you gain quite a bunch of flat haste, which is quite good with this talent, which gives you percentage haste. Then Zuen's Battle Gear, Rising Sun Kick critical strikes, reduce the cooldown of Fists of Fury by 5 seconds. When Fists of Fury ends, the critical strike chance of Rising Sun Kick is increased by 50% for 5 seconds. And here we have something for our crits as well. All right, now let's take this out. So here we have Zuen's Bond. Abilities that activate combo strikes reduce the cooldown of Invoke Zuen, the White Tiger, by 0.1 seconds, and Zuen's damage is increased by 10%. So very big emphasis on you using Zuen in right times, and like, yeah, getting even more buffs with it. Now, Last Emperor's Capacitor. Chi spenders increase the damage of your next Crackling Jade Lightning by 100% and reduce its cost by 5%, stacking up to 20 times. Oh, okay. Alright, okay. Sky Reach. Tiger Palm now has a 10 yard range and dashes you to the target when used. Tiger Palm also applies an effect which increases your critical strike chance by 50% for 6 seconds on the target. This effect cannot be applied more than once every 1 minute per target. So, like, yeah, this talent is, it like changes quite much about your character. So, it's definitely very good for PvP. It's definitely very good for your open world content. It can be very useful on some raid encounters where you need to blink a lot and where you have when you have a lot of ads on M+, I don't know, but yeah, at least it looks very cool and interesting. Fatal Flying Guillotine. Touch of Death strikes up to 5 additional nearby targets. Yeah, and they're going hard on the Touch of Death. Then we have Crane Vortex. Spinning Crane Kick damage increased by 10 and then 20%, which doesn't, like, we don't get it here, but it's gonna be probably 20%, which means that your just AoE increases M+ damage. Bone Dust Brew, so probably Necrolord stuff. Instant 1 minute cooldown Hurley Brew created from the bones of your enemies at the ground, coating all targets struck for 10 seconds. Your abilities have a 50% chance to affect the target a second time at 40% effectiveness as shadow damage or healing. Yeah. Then we have Dust in the Wind. Bone Dust's bruise radius increased by 50% and attenuation. Bone Dust Brew's shadow damage or healing is increased by 20%, and when Bone Dust Brew deals shadow damage or healing, its cooldown is reduced by 0.5 seconds. Okay, so the whole Windwalker talent tree seems kinda like very interesting. There is definitely like maybe there's not as much choice for your AoE. But for your single target, for your generic just buffs, for your generic increases to damage, for your different ways to get yourself a better character, and maybe not like that does not include your main AoE spamming ability, there is a bunch of cool stuff here, and that's like all that you need to say. So I'm quite glad with Windwalker, even though I'm not really playing that class as much because I don't really like the stylistics of the monks. But maybe with all these changes, with almost every talent tree in the game, besides like maybe Beastmaster and some others, I want to play all these subclasses. I want to play all specializations, most of them at least. Yeah, they look cool, and you definitely can customize stuff for you. And look how it's gonna do. And it's gonna be interesting seeing all the meta stuff in the game, and then you're like calculating theory crafting, and you found something better than the meta can give to the players, and then you're like, ha, look at me, I'm so cool because I've spent my time, I did my research, I like thought about things, I've calculated it, and it's better than all you fuckers using. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the content. Please subscribe to me if it's not hard for you. Have a good day. Goodbye.